out in windswept Lincolnshire this morning. Kim, good morning. Are you looking at one of these English electric lightnings as we speak?
Morning, Phil. I'm not. They're teasing me. They haven't shown me it yet. I'm actually in the middle of Binbrook at the moment. Can you hear it? It's beautiful though. There's a few birds tweeting. The sun is shining down on us. It's lovely. We're enjoying ourselves. So I'm going to be having a little adventure today. See where it takes us. But I've got many of the team here today as well, and volunteers, that have been working on the Lightning as well. Now, Chris, hello, my lovely. Why do you think the Lightning has actually attracted so many people for so many years?
Well, basically, it's an iconic jet designed in the 50s, first flown in the 60s, and it last flew in 1988. And we're just trying to preserve that for future generations to come along and have a look at an iconic Cold War jet.
And for yourself, you're taking it, engineer it. Well, what's in it for you? What do you enjoy about working on with the Lightnings?
Well, I've been an engineer most of my life, from being 15, so to take something together, get it working again to where it originally should be, just gives you a buzz.
And when you do actually see the Lightning wild, do you still get that buzz every time you see this aircraft?
Yeah, a lot of people that go up Binbrook just see how it is now, but it used to be back in the operational days. I can still hear the Lightning flying over and start up the smells, the after, afpin, everything from the past. It's all in the head nowadays, mine.
And did you ever actually get to be in a Lightning, or have you just seen them?
I worked 5 years up on the hill at Binbrook here on the 11th squadron. There was 2 squadrons when I was there. I was on the best squadron, 11th squadron.
I don't know if everyone's agreeing on that one.
Well, final squadron at Binbrook, let's put it that way. So my affiliation was with 11, but we all work together, try to get on a bit of banter, which is good for everybody in a way.
And like you say, you want the future generations to be able to see these aircrafts as well. I've got volunteer here, Steve. Hey Steve, all ready for the day, ready for engineering, in his overalls, ready to get to it. What is it for you, Steve, that you love so much about the Lightnings?
It's my childhood. Basically, my dad used to bring crash gate number 3. I remember seeing the Lightnings flying over Waltham, where I live, and for me, it kind of reminds me of my past. And it kick-started my interest in all things aviation, and I got the opportunity 7 years ago to get involved. I didn't think I would have anything to bring to the table, being not RAF or ex-RAF or an engineer as such, but actually that's not true. Everybody brings something different to the table, so it just allows me to work on a Lightning, a live Lightning, which is unprecedented really. Not many people get the opportunity. And it's nearby for me, because it's only 10 minutes away, so that's ideal. Just
a brilliant little hobby so close. And just describe to me, that first time that you actually saw a Lightning go past. You were quite young. What was that like for you? What sort of stuff? Oh my gosh, I'm obsessed with this. I love it.
It's the sound. The sound. I mean, in fact, when I was a kid, they used to fly over Waltham Toll Bar. I do remember once when one flew over during registration, and it was that low, you could smell the exhaust.
Wow.
So that kind of thing really left an impression with me. And let's say that combined with the sound and going up to the airfield and just seeing them on a day-to-day basis. And also, I remember laying in bed, living in Waltham in Millview, and I could hear them take off from Waltham.
What is that sound like, Steve? Just describe it to us.
Ear shattering, really.
Oh, really?
I mean, it's a long time ago now, to be fair, but there's plenty of footage on YouTube and footage of Lightnings that have flown in South Africa relatively recently, so you can remind yourself what they used to sound like. But the opportunity of working on that jet and getting it running again means that we will hear that sound close up again. So that's something we're going to really look forward to. That day.
Chris, you've described it as it's like live. The Lightning, we're calling it's a live Lightning, and that is because we're going to be able to hear them sounds again.
Hopefully that's the plan for medium to near future, yeah. We're just working on the engines now to get that all sorted out, get everything right, no leaks, as we did back in the day. I'm just still trying to remember back in the day, how did we do this, how did we do that, and trying to pass on that knowledge, and hopefully it's working.
Oh, it's wonderful. And one thing that we're all wondering, Steve, you're an avid volunteer, you're excited for this, but are you going to be flying the Lightning? Am I going to get...
Fortunately, no. That will never happen. As for XR724, it's up on the airfield where there is no runway anymore. So that's point number one. So we would have to dismantle it and move it elsewhere. But the main point is the regulations. The CAA would never allow a Lightning to operate under civilian conditions due to the regulations.
Is it just too dangerous?
It's basically classed as a complex aircraft, and they didn't have a fantastic reputation in service for staying in the air. You know, they would fall out of the air sometimes. They were looked after very well, but accidents did happen, and in this day and age, people have been very cautious, and the money involved as well. It would be prohibitive, really. So it will never fly again. But the idea is to keep it live, keep the systems running, run the engines now and again, to the point where one day we won't be able to run them. But that's the best way right now to preserve the airframe, so the future will be able to see it.
Oh, brilliant, Steve, it's wonderful. And I've got a few more of the lads here that are going to be telling me about the aircraft today. It's probably a good thing that it can't fly, guys, because you know...
Tim, only about half. Well, not even. I don't know. No idea how much of your message is missing, because I don't know how much you sent me. But I got text missing Tim in Cattic, who says, "Hello, Phil. Morning, Tim. I remember in the 70s the Lightning Squadron. You're talking about the British Electric Lightning. The Lightning Squadron moved to Leconfield while the runway was being resurfaced at Binbrook. I lived in Lawton Road in Beverley, and that's when the text stops. But it probably goes on to say." And my goodness gracious me, they were extremely loud. I'm thinking it's probably what you're going to say there, Tim. But thank you. And if you want to send the re-note, we can try again, certainly. But Tim... Tim, thank you for getting back in touch. Now, Tim, this was Tim who sent us a note about the Lightnings, the English Electric Lightning, which Kim was talking about earlier on. Kim, our early reporter today, our breakfast show reporter. I'm just trying to get to the bit that's got Tim's note now. Where the heck's that gone? Hold on. There you are. Tim in Cattic sent me a note saying, in the 70s, the Lightning Squadron moved to Leconfield while the runway was resurfaced at Binbrook. I lived in Lawton Road, and then his note finished. And he says it was a lovely sunny day. He sent me another one. Hi Phil, it was a lovely sunny day and I could see a silver dot in the sky. That's when I first heard the Lightning take off, as you say, with a ground shaking roar. In a matter of seconds it was straight up to have a look at the aircraft. Amazing rate of climb, says Tim in Cattic. Yeah, and that's what they say. If you look at, I mean, I'm no expert in anything, as you know, but if you look online and talk, and they're talking about the Lightning, it's that steep rate of climb. Was it Mach 1? They could do that at Mach 1, and you know, the first British aircraft designed and made that could do Mach 2. And I mean, it is an impressive noise. And Tim, don't you live out that way? And I do as well. And occasionally they'll still run training exercises with some of the modern day jets, won't they, across our part of the world. And they're not particularly low, I suppose, or occasionally there's a low one goes over. But it is that incredible, absolutely amazing noise they make. And the time you get to the window, they're gone, and you've actually got to scan the sort of skyline, you know, miles away to see this thing that only seconds ago you heard kind of roaring down your chimney. I know. Anyway, hopefully we'll get back and hear more from Kim Harrison at Binbrook in the next few minutes. In fact, we'll try it during Dolly Parton, shall we? Is here at 10, after the news at 10. We'll chat with Fiona soon enough. In 1989, a Lightning Rally was held at RAF Binbrook, and this was to celebrate the English Electric Lightning, a British fighter of the 60s and 70s and late 80s, which the RAF retired in 1988. The rally was where the Lightning Association was born, with one being held every summer, one of these rallies. Hasn't been held for years though, but the association have hopes to bring it back. They're restoring some Lightnings at different sites in and around Binbrook as well. And Kim Harrison has been to meet the group and see the aircraft they're working on. She's been talking to Chief Engineer John, who's been talking to Kim a bit more about the history of the aircraft.
Right, well, the Lightning's really an iconic aircraft, because really it's the fastest aircraft ever that the RAF had in fighter, based at RAF Binbrook. And Binbrook is synonymous with the Lightning. It's just a beautiful, powerful machine, and for us, it's what we do, it's what we love.
And you're chief engineer there. When you work on the Lightning, have these opportunities to have people come together that have got great memories of it as well. What is it like? Is it hard work?
It's always hard work, the Lightning. Everything you do is really hard work, because everything, all the ground equipment's heavy. There's a lot of maintenance that you've got to do, and to be honest, it's just an ongoing thing that is ongoing all the time. You never finish working on the Lightning. It's something that you just have to keep flowing in, and you gain respect for it. It regains respect for you, i.e. it talks back to you. Like, the more input you put on, the more you get out of it. If you don't put the input in, you get nothing out of it. So it's like that. Engineering, it's a love-hate relationship, and to be fairly honest, every engineer that comes up here and does something, I think enjoys the day.
And when you say sort of it talks back to you, so the aircraft is live, so you will turn the aircraft on, and what you'll be listening to it, if this sounded right, does this sound like the original Lightning?
Yeah, well, we're not quite there yet. We are looking at preservation and maintenance. We have run it in the past. At the minute, we're going through a lull where we're trying to get it back up and running again. But when you are running the Lightning, when you sat in the cockpit and running it, it does talk to you. You listen. You're very active of what's going on there, and it does tell you little bits that it's not happy about that you pick up, and you find bits when you sat in there that you're not happy with. So it is, it is a talk to talk. It does talk to you, and you listen.
And what's your experience with flying a Lightning?
Right, never flown a Lightning. Basically, I'm Chief Engineer of the Lightning Association at Binbrook. I've been involved with the organisation now for 33 years, and to be fair, we've had a lot of people come and go over that time because it's a long time. But the beauty of working on the Lightning is that what aircraft can anybody work on? You don't just turn up and work on an ex-RAF fighter jet. It's something which is unique. And to be able to do that, I think is passion, because I think we all enjoy what we're doing, and that's it for me. I enjoy it, I enjoy working on it, and the end results are, when you get to sit in the cockpit and run it, you really do enjoy it.
That feeling in your stomach?
Yeah. It's nerve-wracking as well though, because at the end of the day, you are running something that basically can climb to 50,000 foot per minute, which is a lot faster than most other jets, and it is, with engines are spinning just as fast on the ground as they are in the air, so it's got to be right.
Oh gosh, I didn't even think of it that way, that even though it's going to be stationary, you're still hearing that buzz, you can feel the engine going, and you think, could this just go?
Well, yeah, I mean, it'll jump the chocks if you get above about 80% on both engines. That's 85% RPM. i.e. power, if you like. If you put it into reheat, it kicks you in the back even when you stood still. You can feel the thing, and they call it the frightening. It is, and even ground running can be a bit treacherous sometimes. But end of the day, we all love what we're doing.
How interesting is that? Kim Harrison out at RAF Binbrook, and I don't know if she's staying there for you, Fiona. Do you know what she's doing, or have you deployed her somewhere else? How is she?
No, she's staying there to find out more. I'm fascinated by these Lightnings. Is that what they're called?
Yeah. They're an amazing thing, because actually a lot of these planes that we look at, and they're iconic, were developed in way earlier than you think. I think that was developed in the early to mid-50s, which is incredible. You think that was flying in our skies up until about 88, I think.
As well, Kim will be down there at
Cool.
Binbrook giving us more information. Hopefully not actually flying one of these.
No, I don't think you can. Not allowed to fly them anymore. You wouldn't let Kim fly it anyway, would you? I'm sorry, Kim, if you're listening. You wouldn't let Kim fly it, would you? That'd be
Well,
ridiculous.
it sounded like she was in the plane and she was just checking, this can't just suddenly take off.
Is this the on button here, this one?
Radio Humberside. Now, English Electric Lightning was a British fighter aircraft in the 60s, 70s and late 80s, with the RAF retiring it in 1988. In 1989, a Lightning rally for enthusiasts was held at Binbrook. It was at this rally that the Lightning Association was born, with the rally being held every summer. It hasn't been held for years, but the association hope to bring it back very soon. And they're restoring some Lightnings at different sites in and around Binbrook. Well, our Kim has gone along to meet the group and see the aircraft that they're working on.
Well, I've moved to a different location now, and we turned down a quiet private road with all the trees over the top, and I suddenly saw a group of people. And I can't believe I didn't notice the lightning before the group of people. And what a wonderful thing this is to see. I just didn't even know what to expect. It's humongous. It's beautiful. It's so rustic and old. I just don't think you get to see anything like this at this size without it being in a museum. And it's literally sat in the chairman's garden. Steve, you're one of the volunteers here who've been working at the Lightning Association. Just literally tell me what we're looking at right now.
This is an English Electric Lightning F6, XR725. I think it was brought here in 1989, give or take. When it was lifted into position, there was no trees around it, so it looks a lot different. But now it's been encircled by these trees. It sits there, secluded away. As you can see, it's a very large aircraft, which was your first impression, definitely. So it's very high as well. I mean, the top of the fin, I can tell you now, it's just under 20 foot.
Wow.
So when you're up there, you know it's high, and that gives a bit of scale. And the first time I ever saw a Lightning up close at Peaks Farm in New Waltham, I was struck by the size of these aircraft, because they are big, and you look at that, and basically all that was designed to get a couple of missiles and maybe a few rounds of 30mm ammunition up to intercept the Russians, and then shoot them down and then return to base.
And this section here, is that where the missiles would have been kept?
Yeah.
Just at the bottom? It looks like, if you like a really dip. What do I call this bit here, Chris?
This is the ventral tank. There's about 4,400 pounds of fuel in the ventral tank, this one on the F6. This here is 30mm Aiden cannon. There's one either side on this one.
It's brilliant. So there's 5 sort of loops, isn't there? Metal loops. And so what would have come out of here?
30mm cannon shells to shoot down from the gun.
It's incredible. Am I allowed to touch it? Wow. So what's this made of here?
Well, I'm not sure what it's made of, but this is where the missile's fitted. If we look on the other side, you'll see the missile actually fitted.
Let's have a little nosy round.
They could carry 2 missiles, the red top or the fire streak missile.
And why is there a big pole right at the front? What is this big pole at the front?
Right, if you look down there, we've got slots in there. That gets the airspeed of the aircraft, with the air going down there.
And
Pitot tube.
Pitot tube, yeah.
A lot of the instruments inside the aircraft, have to have an air pressure going in to help them work. So you have that off, and obviously there's a little hole in the front. Yeah, it goes down there, feeds through, and aids the working of the instrument.
Brilliant. This is Bath, by the way, who just heard me ask what is this pole, and he's come over to the rescue. She said, what's she asking about this pole for?
Just for a bit of history on this, the aircraft was bought by Charles Ross, whose garden this is, and is the greatest garden gnome in the world. And it's one of 2. XR725, which is this one, which used to be the mount of Wing Commander Jack Durand, who used to be the OC-11 squadron, who lives, when he retired as an Air Commodore from the RAF, lives in Tilby, so just down the road. And you can see his name on the side of it. And the other jet, both 5 Squadron and 11 Squadron, both have what was called boss jets. So 11 Squadron obviously had the black tail because that was their colours. And then 5 Squadron had a red tail because that was their colours with a maple leaf on the back. And that aircraft used to be at Waddington. It's now down in Kent.
Let's have a little wander around this side then. So you can hear, can't you, the passion and the knowledge of everyone. Chris, why is it so important that it stayed in Binbrook and stayed so nearby? Everybody is involved in it, like you say, TLB, Waltham, everyone's so close. Why is that important?
I think it's the last aircraft to fly from Binbrook as a squadron, and right back into the Second World War. I think Lancasters flew from here with 460 Royal Australian Air Force. There's a memorial in the village to those guys as well. There's a memorial garden up on the base. You'll see loads of trees and plaques and benches, that sort of thing. It's just a spiritual home of the squadron.
That was Kim. Now, in 1989, a lightning rally was held at RAF Binbrook. We've been talking about it today. Kim is down there. This was to celebrate the English Electric Lightning, a British fighter aircraft in the 60s, 70s and the late 80s, and the RAF retired it in 1988. Well, this rally was where the Lightning Association was born, with one being held every summer. Hasn't been held for years, but the association have hopes to start bringing it back. They're restoring some lightnings at different sites in and around Binbrook. Well, Kim has gone along to meet the group. She's been there all morning. She's had a look at the aircraft they're working on, and she caught up with volunteers, Chris and Steve.
I'm just looking through the storage facilities that we've got here, and I'm looking at all the equipment they've got, spares and so forth. It brings a lot more memories back, of course. Spare jet pipes, starter motors. I'm starting to recognise lots and lots of things.
Chris, a lot of stories have been shared today. The camaraderie, the sort of socials, and just all those memories. When you guys get together, is that what you find? You're all sort of sat talking about the times when you were all working on this and experiencing it for the first time?
With 2 squadrons being involved here, basically 5 Squadron and the Elite Squadron 11, then there's a lot of friendly banter between the two. Who's the best and who's not the best, and blah blah. It's the way it is. We're all friendly at the end of the day. We've got one target to meet, and that's what we're all working towards. So we'll work together.
And what is that target? I know we've mentioned today, unfortunately the Lightning won't fly, but that's not what it's all about, is it?
We just want to get it out to the public that in the future hopefully we'll have somewhere they can visit, bring back memories for a lot of people. We do have a lot of people from the Second World War actually visiting Binbrook because it was live during the war, and hopefully bring people back up and relive their memories as well. As Steve said earlier, he was there as a kid, and it'll bring back memories to many people hopefully.
No, absolutely. And Steve, is it the same for you? Just sort of the memories. Do you have any, while you've been here today in Binbrook, has there been a lot of memories flashing back for you?
Yes. Even during conversations with the guys, that reminded me of different engineering tasks and things like that, and all of a sudden it brings back those memories of the difficulty we had as well of servicing this aircraft. It was a really difficult aircraft to service, but at the end of the day, the reward was to see them flying, and it was all worth it at the end.
And for the general public as well, is this something that they can come see? Can they go up the hill and see the Lightning? How can the general public get involved?
Well, that's the end goal, I believe, to get it open to the public. We have a heritage centre, a lot of history up there. Charles knows a lot of the history. He's got a lot of memorabilia. We've got quite a bit of memorabilia on the hill we can place up there in the heritage centre when we get a decent site for the public to visit, which is down the line in the future, hopefully.
And do you find that when people do see the Lightnings, like I've never seen an aircraft this close before, is it always the same reaction of, oh my gosh, I was very stunned?
To those like yourself that's never seen one, they don't realise how big and complex it is, but people like us, it just brings back memories to us. It's always in our blood, in our hearts. We just love it the way it is and the way it was and the way hopefully it will be.
It's lovely to hear that, and honestly all the stories that have been shared today between the lads talking about memories, the nostalgia of it all, and honestly just the passion for this great piece of machinery is beautiful. I'm loving it. You're never going to let me leave. I'll stay here forever, guys. Is that all right?
That's fine.
The coffee's all right as well. They're looking after me.
I'm glad they're looking after me. Spaceman. Did I tell you how much I love Sam Ryder? Yes, okay, 1,000 times. Now, Kim's been out and about for us this morning. We've been talking about the English Electric Lightning, which was a British fighter aircraft in the 60s, 70s and late 80s. The RAF retired it then in 1988. A lightning rally in 1989 for enthusiasts was held at Binbrook. It was at this rally that the Lightning Association was born, and a rally then being held every summer. Hasn't been held for a few years, but the association hoped to bring it back, and they're restoring some of these aircraft as well. Well, Kim has gone along to meet the group and see the aircraft that they are working on.
So all the lads are coming together to stabilise these ladders for me so I don't go wobbling all over the place. I think that what we're doing, we're chocking the ladders just to keep them in place. Steve just went up there and they were a bit wobbly. Oh, looks like I'm going to head myself up there. I'm excited, lots of fun. Josh, are you my safety buddy? Right, we're heading up the ladders. Here we go, guys.
Tell me where I can, to be honest.
Right, let's have a go.
Behave yourself, Josh.
Right, you hold that.
Obviously, you need to watch your head when you climb in.
Okay.
So what you want to do is make your way to the back of here with your legs. So one leg there.
Will it hold me right?
Yes, of course it will.
Oh, minute, look at this, guys.
Hang on.
Brilliant.
Yeah, just watch your head there, look. Watch your head.
Wow, guys, I'm literally climbing into the cockpit. This looks very uncomfortable, guys.
It is.
You don't have a cushion or anything?
There is a cushion usually, but we take it out because if ever the aircraft got broken into, they'd steal it. 'Cause it's leather. So obviously we need to take things with us to keep them safe.
Right, I'm officially in the Lightning. How wonderful. Now, you don't have much space in here whatsoever. This must be terrifying to fly also. I thought there'd be more people in it. Why is there only one pilot?
Just one pilot does everything. Just one pilot does everything. He does his own navigation, he does his own flying, obviously, he does his own weapons. So it's a one-seated fighter aircraft.
Terrifying. Now, I heard one of the lads earlier say, it's like you're one man just sat on a rocket.
Yeah, definitely. You're sat on a lot of fuel and a lot of, well, not a lot of armaments, but certainly armaments that can do a lot of damage. And that's the job that they were trained to do. Get up there, meet the enemy, fire your weapons and come back and hopefully get rearmed and away you go again. It was that quick.
You say it so casually, Josh, like, you're just taking a trip to a theme park, but I'm sat here and even my heart's racing a bit just sat here. It must have been terrifying.
I think the guys are so highly trained and so skilled at what they do. They just get in and do it. It's a job for them. It's a job that they do, and a job that they do with expertise. And it's really incredible. The ground crew that service them and look after them and get them airborne, and the guys that fly them and deliver. What they've got to deliver. It's awesome. It really is.
Chris, when you come over to the RAF base, the ex-RAF base here in Binbrook, do you just often get yourself up here and sit in the cockpit and relive memories?
Yeah, quite often. We call it being a hangar pilot. We just imagine ourselves actually being the pilot. Back in the day when I used to run the aircraft and put the canopy down, I'd play with the instruments. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but I played with some of the instruments I wasn't really trained on, but I knew they were safe and I knew what I was doing basically.
Does it sort of take you back, I suppose, to being a child? Did you ever sit in like your parents' car and pretend you were driving it? Does it feel like that same thing? I mean, it's very different because it's a huge and very dangerous piece of machinery.
Yeah, well, like Josh was saying, the pilots are very highly trained. It's like just me and you getting into a car. It's all there. They know where everything is at their fingertips. So it comes naturally to those after a while once they've been flying them long enough.
Thank you for that, Kim. I've enjoyed listening to all that this morning. Kim Harrison there with the Lightning Association talking about the Lightning aircraft. So she was saying as she was climbing in there that it's really uncomfortable. I don't think it's made for comfort. I mean, I'm 6 foot. I probably can't get in it actually. Thinking about it, but yeah, there must be a height restriction on fighter pilots. Because I can't imagine if you're over 6 foot you could actually climb in or be comfortable. But I'm glad she didn't press anything. Yeah, because I would have knocked against something, the on button, the engine start. Yeah, would have been awful. But I enjoyed that this morning. Thank you for Kim.